Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Resurrection Cup 2025. Here with another match in the quarterfinals weekend, this time in the losers bracket between Corsace Open 2024 and EMPICONES, two pretty solid teams who both have fallen down to the losers bracket and both won one match by default as well. So limited information for both of these teams going into the match. And it's a pretty close one in terms of seeding as well. Seed 12 versus 15. So should be a good one here between these two teams. I'm Dio. And looks like for now I'm going to be solo casting. Not sure if I'm going to have another caster join me or not. But for now, just going to be me here on the desk. As we start to get into the roles, bans, and first picks for these teams, a reminder that in quarterfinals and onward, bans are staggered. So each team gets 2 bans, but you give your first ban, you play 4 maps, and then you get your second ban. So each of these teams is going to have to pick carefully, figure out exactly which sort of map is the worst for them, the best for their opponents, and ban that out, and then hopefully pick well afterwards as well. It can be very easy to mispick, potentially try to save a good map for later, not remembering that your opponents can just ban it again during the second ban phase. So definitely a format that incentivizes teams to get their best picks out on the field immediately so that you don't get some of them banned away against you later on. These two teams have had pretty even scores in qualifiers as well, with both teams being somewhat strong on hidden, decent on hard rock, and then somewhat strong on DT as well. Pretty much decent on the hard rock and DT, somewhat strong on the hidden, and varying performance on the nomads. EMPICONES definitely struggling a lot more on the nomads and qualifiers as compared to Corsace Open 2024, and I think that's where a lot of the difference in qualifiers comes from. So not a surprise here also to see the hidden 2 banned out by Corsace Open 2024. A couple of really solid hidden players on the side of EMPICONES, players like TFGE, players like Suntan, players like Sifs, all very, very good, whereas Godskin Noble, also known as Pez, and Hellbeak, likely just going to be in on a lot of the more mechanics-focused maps. It is a little surprising to me to see EMPICONES ban out the Double Time 3. Might have expected maybe a Nomad ban from them, or a DT alt ban, for example, the DT4. Definitely an area where they struggled in comparison to Corsace Open in the qualifiers, whereas general speed was pretty even between the two teams in qualifiers, it looks like. So a little surprised to see the DT3 ban come out, especially with how well players like Suntan, Pez, and Hellbeak have been playing on some of those more speed-focused mechanics picks. But EMPICONES just going to go into the Nomad 4 here. This is a treat for us. It's one of the originals this week by Ulagumo. Unbreakable, mapped by Lakandi and 9 Ami, with the background by Showtime. Thanks to all of those people involved in making this original. It's a banger song. It's a tech map. It's 175 BPM and kind of goes through a lot of different archetypes for tech maps. A little bit of the stream and flow tech, a little bit of slider aim tech, a little bit of some of the really tricky slider following, tons of finger control as well. It's just a very tough map overall, and not super straightforward in any one way or another. Does have a lot of really tricky sections, as you would expect of a tech map. So this is going to be the first pick for EMPICONES. Likely for me, I'm expecting TFGE, I'm expecting Suntan, and I'm probably expecting Pez to come in here as well. I could maybe see Sifs coming in. Hellbeak is pretty solid as well, but like in general, I expect the first 3 people on this roster. I think those are, in TFGE's case, definitely not more of a mechanics player, much more on the tech alt side of things. Pez and Suntan are probably the best players on the team, so I expect them to be on a lot of different maps. Whereas Sifs and Hellbeak, I expect more kind of the mechanics roster alongside Pez and Suntan. As for Corsace Open, Not sure exactly who's going to be in for this one. It's looking like we got Stella, Ahoff, and Escrupulio in for this map, which I think makes some sense here. Shrek and Lion likely to be in more on the mechanic stuff. Players like Escrupulio and Ahoff especially are well-known all-rounders in the tournament scene. And we get into the first map of the match here, the Nomad 4 original song by Ulagumo, Unbreakable. Just an early break from Hez at the very beginning of the map. Not going to impact too much. Accuracy lead for Corsace Open as well. No big drops yet, though. There's a couple of them actually huge early on. A couple of big axe drops as well for both Suntan and TFGE on the side of EMPICONES. Another break from Suntan to follow it up. But there's a four-way break, 5 breaks all in a row there. 3 on the side of Corsace Open, 2 more for EMPICONES on Suntan and Hez. The only problem, TFGE not having the combo, not having the accuracy to take advantage of the 3-way break from Corsace Open. And with everything reset, it's about an 80k, 75k score lead for Corsace Open. Another break from TFGE will start to bring it back over to the side of the German roster, but Stella and Ahoff both find a break there. EMPICONES now, it's Pez finding the drop, but Suntan holding onto the combo to match Scrupulio on the side of Corsace Open. Everyone finding drops all over the place in this Nomad 4. And there goes Suntan, and there goes any combo on the side of EMPICONES. Corsace Open holding a slight edge here about halfway into the first pick of their opponents, hoping for a breakpoint to start off the match. Scrupulio leading the charge here. Highest score in the lobby, highest combo in the lobby to boot. In control of the destiny of his own team as we move into the last about quarter of this map after this pretty easy build-up section. A couple of bursts here, but nothing crazy as we get into it. Everyone hitting that back and forth repeat slider jump section, but Suntan to fall as we get right into the last quarter. There goes Ahoff. There goes Escrupulio. It's still under 100k here. 3-way break for the side of Corsace Open and big combo on both Pez and TFGE, but Pez finds a drop, and now it's just all on TFGE, but the 93 accuracy is keeping him from doing his best, from having his biggest impact. He finally finds another slider break as well, and with a 6-way delayed break in the last quarter of the map and 100,000 score lead still on the side of Corsace Open, they are going to take the breakpoint early on. EMPICONES, the first pick, misfiring and giving over an early edge to their opponents. An early 1-0 lead here for Corsace Open 2024 with their own first pick even yet to be played. Already up 1-0. Solid performance there from Escrupulio, the only one to hit that 400k mark in the lobby, but generally good stuff from everyone in their team. About 350k, I believe, from Stella, 300k as well from the side of Ahoff. So everyone there above that 300k mark. EMPICONES, unfortunately, not quite able to hit that margin themselves. And now, Corsace Open looking to go up 2-0. Give themselves a solid lead here by the early break point, if they can figure out where they want to successfully pick. If your opponents ban DT3, we saw this in the first stream match of the day. If your opponents ban DT3, pretty commonly DT2 Nomads, who are going to be good picks, but not going to go for these speed mechanics maps as a first pick here for Corsace Open. Going to be sticking to some of the less conventional picks, some of the non-mechanic stuff. This time the Nomad 3, not an original, but a custom map. Stay Foolish by Zutamayo, mapped by Mout. It's a pretty standard alt map. 150 BPM, good amount of flow difficulty, but majority of the difficulty on this is going to be the snap aim control. Feels very awkward. feels very tricky to play. I'm going to expect pretty similar rosters for these teams as well on this next map. We go from Nomad 4 to Nomad 3. And yes, it's not tech, but they're both more aim control focused than they are anything else. So you expect relatively similar rosters here. Reminder, last time around, we had Ahoff, Stella, and Escrupulio in for Corsace Open. We had TFGE, Pez, and Suntan in for EMPICONES. Doesn't look like we have any changes for the side of Corsace. And no changes on the side of EMPICONES either. So 6-4-6, all the same members. And EMPICONES looking for redemption, hoping that perhaps the alt pick from their opponents works out a little better than their own first tech pick here. There's a decent amount of both of those skill sets in the rest of the pool as well. So victory on both of these maps would be pretty big for Corsace Open. Outside of the Nomad pool, you still have the Hidden One as you still have the Hidden One as a really solid tech pick. You have the Hidden 3 as a little bit more alt and flow aim. You have Hard Rock 1 as another tech pick. You have Hard Rock 3 as finger control alt. You have DT4 as some more alts. You have Fremont 2 and Fremont 4 as relatively alt-focused maps as well. So there's a ton of maps that fit this kind of aim control, finger control, hybrid playstyle within the pool. But an early break from Ahoff does give the advantage over to EMPICONES at the start of the map here. Just about a quarter of the way in. And another slider break to come through for Ahoff. Another one as well. And now 3 full combos to 2. It's not a huge lead, but it is still an FC advantage for EMPICONES, who down 0-1 do not want to give over control of all those different tech and alt maps in the pool to Corsace Open. Need to make them think twice about just permanently picking into tech and alt for the rest of the match. There's actually a break from Pez, just finding an uncharacteristic miss or slider break, it looked like, and now combos pretty much even, still in favor of Corsace Open now by about 200, but there goes the Escrupulio. It's TFGE matching. It's a trade of combos, now 1 full combo apiece for these teams. Stella and Suntan on the top row, holding those full combos and matching. Still the 200 combo lead for Corsace Open based on the timing of the misses from Ahoff and Pez. And there's Stella finding the drop actually on the big diff spike of the snapping transition into this PI time. Suntan now holding control of the map for EMPICONES. Another couple of misses to come through from both Ahoff and Escrupulio on this second PI time. And EMPICONES in, I think, far more one-sided fashion on this Nomad 3, going to take the pick, already up over 200,000 points. Suntan still holding the FC on the Nomad 3 for EMPICONES, looking really, really solid on this map. And Godskin Noble Pez not too far behind, at least holding some big recovery combo for them as well. But really, all eyes are just on Suntan. The map's pretty much over. We've only got less than a quarter of the map to go. And the score lead up at 350k is not winnable for Corsace Open, even if we see a 3-way break from EMPICONES, I believe, just over. So all eyes on Suntan just to see if he can clutch out the FC. Map's already over, man. No pressure. Already got the point, so let's just see a nice full combo. Another few breaks coming out from Ahoff, Pez, and TFGE on the bottom row there. Stella, Escrupulio, and Suntan all still holding. And finally a break comes for Escrupulio, but none throughout the whole map for Suntan. Holds on to the FC. 99.2 accuracy when all is said and done. 970k. Really good score there for Suntan. Very solid stuff from him, and ties it up alongside Pez and TFGE, both putting up solid scores. Pez nearly matching Stella, TFGE nearly matching Escrupulio. So massive overall score lead there with Suntan clutching out the FC. And now, Corsace Open, they find their own mispick. We just trade wins back and forth, picking for the other team instead of for ourselves. So EMPICONES potentially could go into another alt map here, even aside from Suntan's FC there. TFGE and Pez also looked pretty comfortable on the map overall. Again, we're able to match the best and second best scores on the side of Corsace Open. So I think alt looks really good for EMPICONES in much the same way that tech looked pretty solid for the side of Corsace Open. And indeed, we are going to get into, you can kind of call this alt. It's much more finger control than it is an alt map. But if you have a lot of finger control and aim control, that tends to mimic how people play alt maps as well. Pioneer won by 2L. 180 BPM finger control rhythm pick in free mod here. It's CS4 AR 9.6, but don't let that fool you. Hidden is still really, really tricky on this sort of a map because of all the changing beat snap divisors, the different rhythms constantly switching up on you. It can be really tough to read what is going on. As well, aim control and flow aim on Hidden is just generally a very difficult skill set. That said, Hard Rock doesn't really make it too much easier either. You have the, of course, increased OD that makes it much harder to ack all those changing rhythms, but also the increased circle size that really makes that aim control aspect a lot tougher as well. So whether it's about the reading or the aim control and finger control, any modded players on this are going to have a tough time, and everyone has to take a mod. So we're going to be seeing a lot of players maybe have some trouble on this map. It's a relatively low scoring map, and it's a relatively difficult one on this free mod 2. Wouldn't be surprised to see the same 6 players in again on this map as we continue picking into the unconventional non-mechanics maps in this pool. I do like this pick for EMPICONES, having one on the No Mod 3. Yeah, this is not an alt map, but it's alt adjacent. So I think works very well for their team. And yeah, once again, the same 6 players on both sides. Double Hard Rock for Corsace Open on Stella and Escrupulio. Double Hidden for EMPICONES on Suntan and TFGE. That, of course, leaves Ahoff on the Hidden and Pez on the Hard Rock. First miss to come from Pez on the side of EMPICONES on that Hard Rock. Everyone else still holding the FCs. The accuracy looking really good for EMPICONES. The combo better for Corsace Open, up about 180 combo over EMPICONES at the moment. That FC advantage small in terms of the actual combo. And there goes Stella, there goes Escrupulio, there goes Pez once again, but multiple breaks from Corsace Open, only the one on the side of EMPICONES, and most importantly, neither of the other FCs dropping for the side of EMPICONES. It's just Ahoff now versus TFGE. Suntan finding the break there on the Hidden, and it's Hidden versus Hidden on the full combos. Ahoff and TFGE holding strong for either team. Another couple of breaks to come out from Pez, as now finally Ahoff finds the miss for Corsace Open. It's TFGE left alone on the side of EMPICONES, holding strong, the only high combo, the only FC in the lobby, building up the score lead for them to take home their second point and put themselves on track in this match. The first team to win their own point after the traded breakpoint first picks. And finally, another couple of misses come out for Escrupulio and Stella, but TFGE is just still going on this map, man. Absolute monster play for TFGE, still holding through the switch-ups into 1/3, into 1/6, with the changing BPMs on nearly every pattern, absolutely crushing this map. Yeah, the accuracy's down to 94. He finally finds a slider break, but he's done more than enough work. 680k when the next highest score is not even 400k from Suntan is an absolutely massive performance, and he is going to make up a pretty decent chunk of that 450k score lead for EMPICONES on this pick. Solid stuff from TFGE. And of course, Suntan, not to be outdone, still beating out every score on the side of Corsace Open. Even Pez there on the Hard Rock. Yeah, kind of in between Escrupulio and Stella in terms of score, but A-ranked when both of them B-ranked. So full suite of A-ranks for EMPICONES works wonders for them on the Rhythm AC finger control pick. And now, Corsace Open, pressure's on them. No more breakpoint trading going on here. You have to actually win your own pick. Do you go for something a little more tech-focused? Do you go into something a little more mechanics-focused with the DT3 ban from your opponents? Both decent options. I still feel like either the DT2 or the Nomad 2 would be solid picks here. If your opponents are banning out DT3, clearly they don't really want to play speed against you. But if you don't have your speed roster yourself, then continuing to pick into the tech might be a good option anyway. Something like the Hard Rock 1 could be a solid pick in that case, especially since EMPICONES clearly more comfortable on the hidden, and your own team clearly more comfortable on the Hard Rock. If they do end up going with that Hard Rock 1, or if they switch things up, it's gonna be Hard Rock 2 instead of Hard Rock 1. So a little techie on this one, a little just unconventional in general. I wouldn't call this a tech map, but I also wouldn't call it just a standard mechanics Hard Rock 2 either. It is a precision map, of course, but not necessarily a map that is one archetype. You've got some tricky flow aim, you've got some jumps, you've got a little aim control, you've got some finger control in this, you've got some slider patterns that can be really tough to deal with as well. So there's a lot going on in this map, but definitely a precision pick through and through. And for the team that opted into double Hard Rock on the free mod, I think this pick does make sense, if just for the mod comfort. See if we get the same roster for both of these teams again here. It would really be something to see the same 6 players 4 maps in a row. Makes me think that maybe we're missing some people for either of these teams, but we'll just have to see as the match goes on. Could also just be hiding information, or players just not in for these early maps. We have had a lot of gimmick maps, no real mechanics picks yet, so you're often going to see a lot of the same players on these types of maps when they are all relatively unconventional. Looks like we do see Hellbeacon for the first time for EMPICONES. Coming in for one of these Hard Rocks does make sense here. But same roster once again for Corsace Open. All 3 of those players still the same. Suntan and Pez still in for EMPICONES alongside Hellbeak for the first time. Couple of early breaks coming through here. Ahaf right at the start of the map. Suntan and Pez as we transition into some of the easier sections here. And Hellbeak actually finding a slider break there on some of the jumps. So now 2 full combos to 0 in favor of Corsace Open. And this Hard Rock pick looking good at the start of the match here. Another couple of breaks come through for Ahop and Helbeek. There goes Ahop again. Oh, but Pez and Suntan both missing for EMPICONES, and now it's just all Corsace open all day on this map. I mean, there's no combo whatsoever to try and claw back any score for EMPICONES, and Corsace open just given free reign over this map. Yeah, the accuracies are not that great from these FCs, but it just doesn't matter because there's no combo on the other side at all, and the accuracy's pretty similar on the other side. A little better, sure, but similar nonetheless. And Scrupulio and Stella, man, they are just rolling through this map. No troubles whatsoever. Yeah, some of the act is a little low for them, but it just doesn't matter all that much. Stella will finally find a slider break on some aim there near the end of the map, but it's, again, just not going to matter. Huge score difference here. 800K in favor of Corsace Open, and Scrupulio with the Hard Rock FC. Massive score for Corsace Open on that map. Even on the leaderboard, I think there's only a couple of FCs on this map with Hard Rock. Actually, 0 Hard Rock FCs on the leaderboard. I watched Kosherex play earlier today, and it is indeed a slider break right at the end of the map. So that is a first Hard Rock FC on the leaderboard from Scrupulio. Nicely done. And definitely does feel like Hard Rock is Corsace Open's domain in this match. And now we move into the second round of bans. Again, staggered bans here in quarterfinals and onward. So we get the second ban phase. I feel like Corsace Open, your 2 losses on 2 finger control, aim control maps really makes you want to ban out something similar. Potentially something like the Freemod 4. It's the other alt map there in the Freemod pool. Actually, both the Freemod 3 and Freemod 4 alt-focused maps. Of course, Freemod 3 more anti-mod focused, much lower approach rate at 8.7 and CS5. So both of those are alt maps, but very different styles. And of course, Hidden 3 is an option, but that's much more of a flow aim pick than an alt map, so don't really think you want to ban that out. Definitely expecting one of the other Freemod alt picks as opposed to the Hard Rock 3, just because I feel like if you are Corsace Open, you want to keep those Hard Rock maps open. Looks like they were not expecting to have to ban a second time. Read forum post.gif, I guess. And it's going to be the Hidden 3 ban after all for Corsace Open, just banning out one of the Hiddens. Which I can see also, right? You don't want to play Hidden against this team, so just ban out another one of those Hiddens. And of course, the Hard Rock 1 ban coming out from EMPICONES feels pretty obvious after the last map. I think Hard Rock 3 is probably a better one to leave open just because it is still an alt map. So it does feel maybe a little better for you than the Tech Aim Hard Rock 1. Next pick now to EMPICONES. I mean, after the double ban of Hiddens, maybe they pick the hidden one. I feel like they probably want to go into one of the free mod 3 or 4. I feel like those are probably better picks for them here. Just keep going into alt, especially that free mod 4. We'll see where they want to go. It is going to be free mod 4. Okay. Locking in M Purple by Isekai Jocho. This is just a pretty standard alt map, if memory serves. Mapped by Artisan. Custom map here for Res Cup 2025 quarterfinals. And I think this pick just makes a lot of sense thematically for EMPICONES. They won on the No Mod 3 and the Free Mod 2. Both of those are alt or alt adjacent. Just keep picking the alt or alt adjacent maps, right? Free Mod 4, Free Mod 3 makes sense. With hit excuse me. Anyway, as I was saying, with the hidden 3 banned out, just pick more alt. Makes sense. And that is exactly what they do. I'm not even... What happened to my voice, man? Oh my god. Okay, there we go. That's coming back. All right. We're fine. All right. Let's load in to the next map here. Very likely to see pretty much the same roster again for both EMPICONES and Corsace Open. We have yet to see a single mechanics map get picked by either of these teams, so any major roster swaps just don't really make all that much sense at the moment. And indeed, we do see pretty much the same roster. Double hidden for EMPICONES, double hard rock for Corsace Open. Suntan and CFGE on the hidden for EMPICONES. Stella and Escrupulio on the hard rock for Corsace Open. That leaves Ahop on the hidden and Pez on the hard rock for each of those teams. Everyone on the hard rock finds a miss at pretty much the exact same time, which of course favors EMPICONES with the double hidden here. There goes Suntan. Does follow up with a miss of his own. Stella will trade her combo out as well. As now we get TFGE versus Ahop on the full combos, and Pez and Escrupulio matching supporting combos for either of these teams. Better accuracy for Godskin Noble, though, and another break comes through for Stella. Which means overall better support, more extra combo for EMPICONES, both the accuracy and combo lead in their favor. But there goes Suntan, drops that combo lead for them, and it's back the way of Corsace Open. But there goes Escrupulio as well on the hard rock. And now Pez left unattended for EMPICONES. Big combo lead there. And there goes Ahop as well. Breaks on the, what is that, 1/8 burst. 270 BPM. And unable to smash through it. TFGE breaks on the 1/6 right afterwards, though. And now it's just all on Godskin Noble Pez to hold on to this combo lead for EMPICONES. They are already up 200,000 points, but there is combo on Stella. Suntan not quite matching that extra combo from Stella on the side of Corsace Open, but I mean, look at the 3-way solid holding combos for EMPICONES. Yeah, TFGE is just recovering, but that extra little bit of combo is still more than either of the supporting players for Corsace Open. Finally, a break comes through for Pez, followed immediately by Suntan. And wait a second, Stella now with pretty solid combo here, but only a quarter of the map, not even left to go, with a 260,000 score lead in favor of EMPICONES. I fear this one is already over, And regardless, yeah, it's going to be a miss from Stella as well. So not going to matter here at the end of it. The earlier efforts from TFGE and Godskin Noble Pez in particular paying dividends for EMPICONES. And another alt map, another win for the team dressed in purple in this match. And now, as we get into the next pick for Corsace Open, I have to feel something's got to give at some point here. There's going to have to be a team who strays from the previous sets of picks that we've had so far and it goes for something a little bit different. But for now, Corsace Open, I think, likely to keep picking Tech and or Hard Rock. And that's probably going to work out for them. That said, where do you go if you want to pick Tech? There's the Hidden 1 left, but I don't think you really want to pick that when you've double banned Hidden. There is the Nomad 5, but that presents a similar problem as the Hidden 1 with the object density. It's AR9 and really, really tricky. So the reading can be a very difficult aspect of that map. Yes, if you're good at Tech, generally you're solid at reading, but the density much more closely mimics some of the reading picks in Hidden. So you maybe don't want to go for that one. If you don't want to go for Hidden 1 or Nomad 5, those are the only two Tech maps left in the pool. Hard Rock 3 is the last Hard Rock pick, but that's an alt map, so I don't know if you really want to pick that either against EMPICONES. So where do you go from here? You see still the DT3 ban from your opponents. Maybe you can check out the DT2, the Nomad 2, potentially the DT1 as opposed to the DT4 as well, and see if those picks work out for you. DT2, I feel like it has to be a mechanics pick here for Corsace Open. Once again, kind of stalling the timer, but there it is, Nomad 2. It is going to be a departure from what we've seen so far, and the first mechanics map picked by either team. Can be a pretty well-known map. Cyber Inductance at 223 BPM. It's just streams. It's just 223 BPM streams. There's a couple of finger control sections here and there, namely some doubles, but that's about it. The entire rest of the map is all streams. Of course, still possible to miss on aim. There's always aim involved in pretty much every map. But the vast majority of the times, you're going to find players struggling more with the stamina than any other aspect of this map. And let's see the first change in roster for both of these teams. First major change in roster, I feel like, for both of these teams. That said, Pez Suntan likely still in for the side of EMPICONES. So just a question of whether they're putting in Sifs or Hellbeak as their last member. And it looks like it's going to be Hellbeak. We do see Shrek in for the first time here, alongside Stella, and maybe we'll see Lion, might be Ahoff, not sure. It's just going to be a Scrupulio, actually, staying in here. So no big roster changes for either team, running with almost all the same members. Hellbeak and Shrek, the two specialists coming in for this map. Suntan, Godskin Noble, Stella, and Scrupulio, the all-rounders staying in from previous maps. Stella with the first break for either team. Probably not going to matter too much, though. Only about 250 combo into the map, and the accuracy is going to start to matter more for these teams as the map goes on. And I think Stella, unfortunately, is not quite warmed up enough for this map, or just doesn't quite have the stamina for this at 223 BPM. We do still see Shrek and Escrupulio holding on to the FCs with high accuracy, and there goes Hellbeak actually finding a break on some of the triples during that section. Pez and Suntan now versus Shrek and Escrupulio, and there goes Suntan as well. And now suddenly big full combo lead for Corsace Open. Only Pez left standing for EMPICONES. And now, not just Stella, but Hellbeak as well, completely out of stamina there, dropping so many hundreds on that last stream section. And both Escrupulio and Shrek holding on to those FCs. Shrek matching the accuracy from Pez as well. And the score lead for Corsace Open going to start to balloon as we get further and further into this map. This map, though, is 3,000 plus combo. So we are not even halfway through in terms of FCs. Here we go into about the second half of the map. And there's actually a slider break for Shrek. It's a miss-aim. Looked like over-aimed the slider head there at the end of the stream. It's now Escrupulio matching Pez, Stella matching Suntan, and Shrek needing to match Hellbeak, but only a 75,000 score lead for Corsace Open. Hellbeak finding another drop on the side of EMPICONES, and it's just the matching high combos, but the low combos favoring Corsace Open, and the score lead continuing to grow very slowly in the yellow team's favor. It's another break to come through for Stella, though, and now no one to match this combo from Suntan. Both Shrek and Stella finding the drops, and it's suddenly a 1,200 combo lead for EMPICONES. Make that 1,400, factoring in Hellbeak as well. Yes, the accuracy for Hellbeak and not helping out too much, but Suntan on this 97 is doing massive work for the side of EMPICONES, and the score lead starting to come back their way. It's still moving pretty slowly, but as we continue to see this extra combo for Suntan take hold for EMPICONES, the score still coming back their way. Escrupulio trying to hang on for dear life to this extra combo, to this extra score for Corsace Open, but it's just not enough. As finally now a break comes through from Suntan. There it is. There's the drop that Corsace Open needed. Both Hellbeak and Suntan finding the drops, and there goes Godskin Noble, and all at once it falls apart for EMPICONES, and Corsace Open Escrupulio able to hold on long enough, able to clutch this FC through to the end of the map just about, and hold on to an over 200,000 score lead now for Corsace Open. Escrupulio take a bow. Not the best accuracy in the lobby, but by far the best combo and the winning factor for Corsace Open on this map. And now things get a little interesting, because yes, that was a win on the mechanics for Corsace Open, but it was still somewhat close. There were still very good scores on the side of EMPICONES. You have 740k from Pez and 470k for Suntan on their side. So it's definitely by no means a gimme that you win on something like the DT2 and DT1. Those are much more multi-skill set maps than something like the Nomad 2, which is just single factor stamina the entire map. So we'll see on the next couple of picks if they want to keep going with the speed or if they want to change it up. But I think after the Nomad 2 and with how the Nomad 5, the Hidden 1, the Hard Rock 3 look, I think some of those are bait. So it feels best probably to go into the DT2, the DT1, and there's the Hidden 1 for EMPICONES. I'm not sure about this one either. But I feel like at some point, you have to go for something different because only the Free Mod 3 is left as an alt pick. And of course, this hidden one is the one hidden left up by Corsace Open, despite double banning Hidden 2, Hidden 3. I'm going to get into another original song here, this time by Blobdash, Erratic God. Mapped by Bazuso. This is graphic design by Osmi and Ariz Kayaba, also known as Moka-san. And hit sounds by Mahiru Shina. So thanks to everyone involved with the project, and obviously to Blobdash for the original song. This is it's a little, it's high BPM tech. It's high BPM tech, really. It's 210 BPM, not very object dense because it is AR 9.9. But still quite a lot of streams, quite a lot of bursts. Finger control at that higher BPM alongside the slider tech portions of this map can make this really, really tough for a lot of people. And let's see the rosters for both of these teams as we come into the first and only hidden pick this entire match, as everything else is banned out of the hidden pool. Going to be Stella, Ahoff, and Escrupulio. Once again, the all-rounders for Corsace Open. Suntan, TFGE, and Pez for EMPICONES. So looking at the 6 players we have seen the most throughout this match so far on this map. Opening aim section, seeing a few breaks come through, actually 4 in total, 2 for each team. Suntan, TFG, Stella, Ahoff. Suntan finding another break as well. It's just Escrupulio and Pez holding on to the FCs early on here. But there goes Escrupulio, finds a slider break of his own, and now it's just Pez in that bottom right corner holding on to the only FC in the lobby. After the opening aim section into this finger control part. Really all eyes on Pez in that bottom right. Does finally find the drop, but so do the entirety of Corsace Open. In fact, it's a 6-way break through the entire lobby as we get into the 1/3 section. More of the stream tech, more of these trickier sliders, and a little bit of finger control to go along with it, and everyone has broken. It's 180,000 score lead for EMPICONES and 0 combo on anyone. So this is going to take a long while to bring back any sort of score lead, as now we get into a little bit of teleport aim section here. And back just to jumps between sliders as we slow it down here. Now this one reverses direction. Now this one reverses direction again. Do they remember? They do all hit it. Lucky for them, or well practiced to them. But another couple of breaks come through for Stella and Escrupulio. And I think with the extra combo on the side of EMPICONES, they're pretty much in the clear. Less than a quarter of the map left to go. And only Ahoff on the side of Corsace Open with any combo to their name. Another couple of breaks come through for actually everyone aside from TFGE, the only one to hold through that section. And finally finds a break afterwards. But 300k in the lead for EMPICONES. It's going to be more than enough to take the win. 300k doesn't sound like a lot, but the scores are 1 million to 700k. So pretty solid overall score lead for EMPICONES on this map. And well, the hidden bans are deserved, it seems like, from Corsace Open after how this hidden one ban or hidden one pick went for EMPICONES. Yeah, top score of the lobby from Pez, but even then, Suntan and TFGE both also outscoring everyone on the side of Corsace Open. Not a single score above 300k for them. Every score above 300k for EMPICONES. So just across the board, better on that map from EMPICONES. And the hidden works out very, very well for them. As now we get Corsace Open's next pick here. And again, I think we're probably looking at DT1, DT2 as the last two picks for Corsace Open based on the Nomad 2. And yep, there it is, going to be the DT2. Winning on speed sure does make your next couple of picks pretty easy, doesn't it? Onto this double time 2. It's another custom map here. This time around, Touch Tap Baby Eurobeat mix, mapped by Garden. AR8DT, 243 BPM. It's a Eurobeat map. You have a lot of bursts, some short streams and long bursts in this map, but primarily stamina alongside a little bit of finger control during the breakdown sections after each ki, with the consistent doubles and quads as the Eurobeat breakdown happens. And now just waiting on the rosters for both of these teams. Feels like we're probably going to see pretty similar rosters overall to the Nomad 2. It's not too much higher BPM, and overall similar enough. So looking back to Escripilio, Shrek, and Stella for Corsace Open. Looking over at Hez, Suntan, and Hellbeak once again for EMPICONES. And again, I think a big reason why the score lead was so large for Corsace Open on the Nomad 2 was the just stamina death of Hellbeak in particular on the side of EMPICONES. Obviously, Stella also kind of having that stamina death on the side of Corsace Open, but not to the same degree. On a map like this, it's a lot easier to not have that happen. So both of those players, I feel, are going to be a little bit better off on this map. The question is, can you keep together your aim and your finger control throughout this map while also not overly focusing on the tapping? And there's actually an over tap from Stella on that stack. Map not starting off very well for her, but there goes Hellbeak, also drops a big combo and act drop at the same time. Everyone else, though, holding strong. There goes the Escripilio, making me a liar. It's just Shrek on the side of Corsace Open now versus both Godskin Noble and Suntan for the side of EMPICONES. It's another break to come through for Hellbeak. And actually, Escripilio's break was Bancho, so still 2 for 2 on the full combos on either side. Stella with better supporting combo, Hellbeak with better supporting accuracy, making up the score difference right now in favor of EMPICONES. There goes Escripilio. There's an actual break for him. Stella also finding the drop. It's finally another break from Pez as well. But there goes Shrek. That's the last FC down now for Corsace Open. Suntan also finding the break, but it's a three-way break here for EMPICONES. Delayed with Pez matching the break from Escripilio and both Suntan and Hellbeak breaking right afterwards. But everyone is finding drops all over the place. And there goes Escripilio. That's the only... never mind. It's Bancho again. Bancho just really hating Escripilio's client right now, but Godskin Noble and Escripilio both holding the combo, but it's less than a quarter of the map left, and EMPICONES holding on to a 200,000 score lead as they now look to take another break point. Finally, a break comes through for Pez right at the end of the map, but there's just not enough time. Escripilio is going to finish out with better combo, but not quite the highest score in the lobby. That honor goes to Suntan. And of course, Pez not too far behind him, but it's the triple A rank that really does major work here for the side of EMPICONES. You look at the miscount and at the combo for both Hellbeak and Stella, and it's pretty much the same, but the accuracy there, I think, giving so much more score over to Hellbeak on the side of EMPICONES. And that makes this match now 5-3. We've been trading pick for pick the entire match long now until this point. And there now is the last pick. Going to be no mod 5 for EMPICONES. A world of whiplash when you're interrupted by a cutscene. Another original map here, original song by Pitar and 1ZM8. And this one is a really, really tricky one. But before we get into that, I'm going to be joined for potentially the last map of this match by Juno, coming over from the A stream. How's it going, man?
It's going good. We just had a very intense match between Waddle Doo and Nation, where Waddle Doo did take the match, eventually 6-3, but very close along the way, coming down to the very wire at the end. Going into this No Mod 5, a map that we did not see in this last match. Of course, one of our original songs for this for this round here. Very, very gimmicky, very overlap stream focused, I would say. A lot of these really wacky overlapping streams.
Yeah, it's a really tricky map. It's, like you said, a lot of overlapping streams, but they double back on themselves with perfect stacks, so it's really hard to know and read exactly when you're supposed to go back onto the same stream or not. On top of that, you've got a lot of really tough doubles cut streams in this map, alongside a lot of really high velocity, oddly shaped sliders, so it can be a real challenge. On top of all that, this map is AR9 flat. Yeah. So it is really, really object dense, very tough to read, very tricky in terms of mechanics overall. So let's see how this goes for both of these teams, because this can be really, really tough. And if Shrek is actually sight reading, I'm sorry for your loss. That's all I have to say on this one.
Yeah, this is definitely not what I would call a sight readable map. At the very least, getting into this No Mod 5, we do see Suntan, Godskin Noble, and TFG on the side of EMPICONES. Stelos, Shrek, and Ahoff on the side of Corsace Open 2024. And a little bit of a calm opening, but we are going to be getting right into it here. Ooh. First breaks coming out
here. Yeah, all at the start here, it is TFGE, Shrek, and Ahoff finding these early breaks. So 2 for 1. FCs still remaining on EMPICONES versus just the one on Corsace Open for Stella. Everybody else, though, all 3 of these FCs holding strong, but there goes Stella, finds the misaim on the stream section. There goes Suntan, also finding the drop, but it's Pez once again holding the lone FC in the lobby as we get into this really ridiculous high-velocity slider section. And how long can he hold during this part of the map? Because this is a pretty massive score lead already, up 200k for EMPICONES. And it feels like they've been saving this map, Juno, because this is already a huge score lead. I mean, it's 240k, but we're talking 250k score lead when your team has 500k score. Like, this is just absolutely massive score lead.
Yeah, and I like to call that part of the notch hell section, where it's just like these massive sliders where you find a lot of these slider breaks. Godskin Noble still holding on to this ridiculous score, finally finds a break, and going to be, it's already over 400k. There's only a quarter of the map left. This is quite a short map, just 2.25 minutes. So, and there's no combos on the side of Corsace Open 2024 to really bring anything back here at all. This is all but said and done. This seems like a finisher pick. Like they knew that they could pull something off here, and they are going out in style, pulling off this amazing 500k score from Godskin Noble into the end of the map.
There's that last slider, and that is going to be it. That is the end of the road for Corsace Open 2024. Pez almost 1v3ing that final pick, just about 50k points back from a 1v3 performance. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous overall performance from EMPICONES there near the end of the match. Just that one break point is enough for them to instantly pull away and take the win on their last pick, the Nomad 5. Very, very well done to EMPICONES. They actually pull off a slight seeding upset. Not by too much. They are seed 15 versus seed 12 for Corsace Open, but they do indeed get a slight seeding upset here in the losers bracket and advance on into the next round of losers bracket. They are as well, going to be facing the winner of the match that you just casted, Waddle Doo.
Yeah, they're going to be up against Waddle Doo. That match will be tomorrow at 19 UTC, I believe. That's the correct time. And yeah, Waddle Doo won that match. It was closer than I expected, mostly because they didn't have Xylus. So that would be a bit of a factor in one of these matches, but Waddle Doo were still able to pull out the victory. And then EMPICONES, of course, pulling out the victory here. Going to be going face-to-face tomorrow.
And that is going to do it for us for now. So to the side of Corsace Open 2024, thank you for playing Resurrection Cup 2025. And to EMPICONES, good luck in your match against Waddle Doo tomorrow. Thanks once again to Flapjack for streaming. Thank you all for watching. And we'll see you back here at 20 UTC in about an hour for Unks and Neff versus Grease Monkey EU1. See you soon.
See you soon.